Hello, my divine being, and welcome to this week's episode of Confessions of a New Age Goddess. As always, I'm the New Age Goddess herself, Melissa. Joining us this week is my next guest, Tracy Rios. Tracy is a health coach and also someone who has a very interesting spiritual journey that she's going to be sharing with us. So, Tracy, welcome to the pod.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, Tracy, do you just kind of want to introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, no problem. Before and after, everything that I went through. But yeah, so my name is Tracy. I am, besides my 9 to 5, I also have a podcast of my own. I'm a mother. I do several things, and basically, I've been through some things that basically connected me to Melissa, which was to start with Reiki healing. And this was just one of many notions that I've learned over the not even that long ago, because it was in 2017 when I went through quite a like probably the worst time of my life. But yeah, after those dark times is when I just started doing a whole bunch of research on holistic healing. And that's when I met Melissa. And I've been very open about my journey, and I just do it ultimately because I wanted to help. I want whatever I went through, if it's relatable to anyone else, like that's all I'm there to do, is just to share and, shine my own light however way I can.
Yeah, and I really think that is the best message overall, is to share what you have, because it's great to learn it for you, but if we're not giving it out into the world, it kind of just stays with you. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's always good to help other people. And also what I've experienced when I learn something, oh my goodness, I want to shout it from the rooftops. I want to tell everyone I can tell.
Yeah.
But I've noticed also I have to be a little bit cautious with that, because something that is important is sometimes not for everyone. You don't want to have a message and it fall on deaf ears, or someone who, is going to make you feel bad about your beliefs. So it's always about finding community. And then once you find that community, then shout it from the rooftops, because then you got
Yeah. Right. That's the thing, is that you have to find your tribe, and that way you can express it. And then like it's better when two great minds like think alike, because that's when like things really start to happen. So in whichever way that we can share the message, and it also helps to get different like an opinion from everyone that's like around you, because then that's what, like, as you said, it definitely shows you that not everything is intended for everyone. People are in different stages of their life, different consciousness level of consciousness, so you can't really blame them. And yeah, that's the thing, is that like it's easier if you just share, but also not also like put all kinds of information out there that'll confuse the audience.
Yeah. And then another thing too, when I have someone, especially if they're a little bit newer to this realm, you got to do breadcrumbing, because if I go, you know, from 0 to 100, that's not going to work out too well. I mean, that wouldn't have worked out well for me. So I
Hmm.
appreciate it when people kind of go slow and go at the correct pace. And some people, like you said, go faster than others or at different levels. So definitely. And,
Yeah.
and another thing too, yes, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy having guests on so much, because it helps with brainstorming. It helps with the community feature of it. And also mentorship. Everyone is my teacher, right? I don't care how old you are, how long you've been doing this, it doesn't matter. So when I have someone else who is like-minded and they spark something in me or I them, that is the greatest value, I think. So these talks are important, and you never know who you are reaching. You never know who.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. That's why you just gotta put it all out there, and it'll reach the right people at the right time.
100%. Okay, great. And then, yeah, how did you start along this journey of spirituality, of a healthier lifestyle? Just where did it all begin?
Man, like I would say about 4 years ago, approximately is when I noticed that things started to go south, like in many areas of my life. And it was all at once. It wasn't just like, breadcrumb. No, it's like my experience was just like, boom, I was just thrown off the cliff because it all came at once where I would say like that the first thing was I was having like I mean it's a long like that in of itself is a long story, but yeah, like there is like some problem with my paycheck, with my payroll. And so they were like making an unfair deduction. And this is something that I've been fighting for years. And so like there was no way of like, temporarily putting it to the side or just curving it in any way. It was just like, boom, I have to take care of this. No ifs, ands, or what's about it. So so yeah, that was like the first thing that I was like, I wasn't really financially stable. And then I was also having car problems, which was actually adding to that problem. And I have, I'm like, things are getting rocky in my relationship and things were not working out. Like we just couldn't, it was just like, we couldn't get on the same common ground any longer, and this is the father of my child. So,
Mhm.
it was like a big deal, like, relationship wise. I was just like, wow, like this is, the things are really ending this time. And like, as I was battling all that, then came the physical illness, and as we all know, it manifests physically, like all the stress, all the, everything that's going on internally is going to come out eventually, like it has to purge. So yeah, I started experiencing like major gut problems where I was like, I'm going to be very open, but I was just like frequently using the washroom, and it was embarrassing because it's like this place that is super as quiet as a mouse. It was this accounting firm that I really did not like the job. It did not resonate at all, but I was good at it somehow. I'm terrible at math, but I was really good at this, in accounting. But I ultimately wasn't happy. I was still trying to get hired anyway, because it was like a temp job. And yeah, so the chances were high, and that would have like taken care of the financial part. But then it's like I had to, it was just yeah, like it was absurd, like just how much pain I was in. So I decided, now this is like right before, this is like when we're still together, so there's two incomes in the household. So then I decided to leave, to like take a break and like try to see like what's going on with my gut issues. So I took some time off work, and I mean, we can't really say if that was a mistake or not, because things, just happened. They just ended out that way. But yeah, and then it did not get any better. The doctors couldn't exactly pinpoint what was the issue, because I was experiencing a number of symptoms that applied to like several illnesses. So I was just like, oh boy, like we're not getting anywhere. And then that went up to my throat. And then this is when I officially moved out and I took this job, and like things were everywhere. Even my friendships were, kind of rocky too. And I was losing it. And then the throat problem persisted. And like I was just getting so frustrated. There's no way of outrunning any of my problems, and so finally, after like seeing several specialists, because when we're in physical pain, like, okay, we can try to like ignore our like, everything that's going on in our monkey brain. But a physical illness, when you are in literal pain, then that's something that needs to be taken care of immediately. That's the number one thing that's like draining your attention and all your focus, is like how can you proceed with anything else if you can't talk.
Right.
So yeah, so I it got that bad. I lost my voice, and the stomach problem was still going, like, I'm broke. um and and that's the thing, is that I ended up going through a series of roommates in such a short time, that my son, he was just well off at that time with his dad. So then he stayed there. and while I was like trying to get my shit together. And so there was that problems that I was missing. I'm like, that's my baby. I raised him since day one. So the fact that he's not in under my guardianship, it was just weird. Like it was such an awful time in my life, So, but so it got to the point where I was suicidal, I just did not I did not want anything to do with anyone here. And it took a while for me to just pull myself out, because when you are severely, now I think I believe in, just based off everything that I learned, it's like you can fall into depression, anyone can, but if you can just pull yourself out, or else you'll just sink deeper and deeper. And I've experienced that myself, where I was at the lowest low in my life. And I was like, okay, if it's the my illness, whatever the heck this throat problem is, it felt like there was like a major obstruction. Like I said, I lost my voice. I couldn't really swallow. And what was really awkward of, I can laugh about it now, but what was like just something that I couldn't, well, okay, so let me tell you. So then I couldn't, like, in order for me to not feel like this sudden like rush of like this fluid thing, like I said, it felt like a foreign object, but the doctor said there wasn't, like they checked. But yeah, like in order for me to not feel that though, I would have to tilt my head like almost completely looking up to the ceiling in order for me to not feel that, because once I feel this weird sensation, it's like I have this pulsing headache until I'm not in that position. So I was just like, it's that bad. So I'm just like, I'm painting the picture so you guys get a good understanding of just all the shit all the physical problems that were actually like a major part, like I was an operator, so, I have to talk to the clients all day over the phone. Like, how can I,
Yeah.
it was bad. And oh, and about the car, like eventually, yeah, it broke down for good. So I was taking the train like maybe 4 hours of a round trip, in public transportation, like the hood of Chicago.
Yeah.
So it was quite a journey just to get to and from work. I can't even perform my job and etc. So that happened, and I remember the very first thing. I mean, it's hard to like. I didn't have an epiphany. I didn't have this moment like the way that Eckhart Tolle describes his, because his was pretty intense. But mine was very subtle. I noticed that I just slowly started to creep out of the shadows. That I started to like regather myself. And one of the very first things, even before I dove deep into this plant-based eating lifestyle. I'm sorry, I did just, well, yeah. So like, right before that, I do remember stubbornly working out, because that was the number one thing that always relieved my stress, was to get like just any kind of physical movement. I just felt like free. And it's like literally I can understand now how it's just stagnant energy that is being released every time, and then you get right.
Yes, that's exactly it. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was just, so that was always like my go-to no matter what. Since I've been a teenager. So I remember stubbornly working out. I remember doing push-ups next to my bed, and as I said, like I would have to lay down and be in that position. So I remember just laying there and I was like, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna get this workout in, and that was like the first thing I did for like maybe a week. And then I decided like, okay, well, let me see how can I naturally cure myself? Because, I went to the medical field. I went to see help, from professionals. And the way that I've always been taught here in America is to go see the doctor. But, because I tried that, and it didn't work out, that's when I started researching plant-based eating, because I noticed that a lot of them were saying, but if you eat a whole food plant-based lifestyle or diet, then that's going to naturally like alleviate all health problems, like basically all, you could live really, really good if you just eat plant-based every day
Mhm.
or, like regularly. So just let that be your main diet. And yeah, and at first I was I was skeptical, and then I was reluctant to do so because I'm like, I don't want to give up meat.
Mhm.
And but my eating habits weren't exactly the best either. They were just like there. So yeah, that's when I started, researching plant-based eating. And then I swear to God, within 30 days is when I felt great clearance in my throat. That's when I noticed it just felt like my nasals were congested all day long. And like I said, that weird head thing that I felt like that was gonna like basically I am doing way better now because it's gotten like it was from that to where I am now, which is like I wouldn't say that just wiped out every problem ever, because I have other habits that I am fully aware that aren't the best,
Mhm.
but I'm trying my best. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like I don't beat myself up too hard, but I know that there's other things that I could do that would be helpful. But it's like, it's one thing at a time. You add that and so forth. You can move on to something else once something is firmly set. Once you have that mentality, then there's really no going back.
Yes, yes. And yeah, there is no going back, right? Because I feel like once you're privy to certain types of information, you've seen such great results. How can you? It's like
Hmm.
it's impossible at that point. And then like you said, you notice these small changes. And also what it sounds like, just from my perspective, you followed your intuition quite a bit too. You knew, hey, I just have to move. Hey, I just have to maybe eat less of this and more of that. It is doing research, but why would you even research a certain thing without getting a feeling or a certain type of knowing? So it sounds
Hmm.
like it's a health journey, definitely, and a spiritual journey. And then also it's you. It's your guidance system. It's the guides too. So yeah, that was just something that I picked up on when you were sharing. So it's very interesting how layered it was too. It wasn't just one thing. It was this and then this happened. And it was emotional things that led to physical things, and how it really is so intertwined and connected.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I look back now and I see just exactly how everything unfolded is the way that it should have, because I can see the perfect timing in every situation now. And it's because of what you just said, is that it's really the intuition that you're just like, I see that this is working, so I'm just going to follow that, instead of always giving into the other voice that is not always supportive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like, who are the analogy of the good wolf and the bad wolf, and who am I going to listen to today? And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so my other, I think, question to kind of piggyback off of that is, you've been doing this for a certain amount of time, and you had to get started, right? So what's like a tip or just something you could suggest to a newcomer to really get started if they really want to make this change and can't do the whole staircase in one day?
Right. Yeah, no, definitely step by step, baby steps, and to get a good understanding of, first of all, what you're diving into. Because also with all this exploration, I did run into some kooky ideas that I didn't think that it resonated with me. And the best thing to do is to listen to people who have also experienced this, so they share their perspective. But not everything works for everyone. And just make sure that you know what you're getting into, because a lot of people do plant-based medicine, so things can go either really good or really bad. So that's what I'm kind of referring to, is that just make sure that whatever you're learning about, just because it's not commonly discussed amongst, the fellow population, then it doesn't mean that it's invalid. It's just that, it's, we don't really practice that. But so yeah, going back to like, um, starting off small, something basic. And I would say the best way to like, let that be the like to propel you forward into what you want to do next is meditation.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you have to first like get, you have to take it like moment by moment. So even if you kind of feel weird doing it, like for someone who is pure beginner and who always probably thought about it but never actually going into the action,
Hmm.
is that like just be observant, just be like open and just see it from a neutral perspective if you can, to like maybe a guided meditation, because it's giving you an idea of like what to do. So that way it's like setting the surface in order for you to do your own going within. So and so when you do that, when you practice meditation, then you have like the voice gets stronger.
Yes.
And so that's why I think that your intuition grows, because then you can then see the easy solution to a problem. Maybe it's been something that's been like lurking forever. Well, if you just cleanse the mind a little bit, so that way like new, important, helpful information can come in, you're kind of like channeling that through, by setting that intention. So like it is as big of a deal as people say it is.
Yes.
And I'm personally very thankful that it's just becoming more and more common for everyone to practice meditation. I know
Exactly.
it's like there's so many apps coming out, there's all kinds of services. It's just, you can see that the world is definitely shifting towards that direction.
Oh, yes. Now more than ever. Now more than ever. Things that, oh, I was crazy about talking about 5 years ago. Now everyone's all ears. Yeah. And
Hmm.
then another thing with meditation too, and you were talking about it, is the clarity aspect of it, because there's many people who I feel like are lost and they're making decisions, but they are not their decisions. It's maybe society, family member, and they don't even know what they really want. If you ask them, they might tell you, but that's not even what they really want, because they don't even know. They're just like, oh, I think I should be doing this. And then
Hmm.
they're doing it. And then they're like, why am I not happy? I thought this is what I was supposed to do. Because they don't even, not only that they don't know what they want, they don't know who they are. They don't know who their authentic true self is. And if you don't know that, everything is running on autopilot. Everything is running based on a different belief system that is not yours. So, yeah, just getting really comfortable with things like, why is my favorite color blue? Is it because all my friends' favorite color is blue, or is it because I really like that color? And it
Yeah.
sounds silly, but it's even that basic. Like when you really ask someone why and they can't give you an answer, it's because they don't know. They haven't just gotten that deep yet.
Yeah, yeah, basically. It's
Hmm.
like they know it's a belief that they carry, but where did it come from,
Yes,
from who or what?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Once you can identify that, decision making is a lot easier.
Hmm.
Everything. Even like, what restaurant am I gonna go to tonight? It's easy. It's like I know what I want. I don't have to be like, I don't know. Let me go on Yelp and look at a bunch of different places. Okay, cool. And then I mean, we've definitely talked about it, how spirituality and health correlate. But is there any, just even in my experiences, when I read the book, Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and she talks about, hey, if your skin is itchy, it means this emotionally. And you were yourself were even talking about your throat chakra and your solar plexus when you're talking about stomach issues and losing your voice. Just keeping the spiritual notion in mind. Um, how has your health impacted you spiritually? If you could kind of define that a little bit more.
Yeah, so exactly. They correlate 100%. They are just as like you need to have the spirituality as part of your health. So what I learned, because yeah, as you said, that like as through my journey, because I became so passionate of like healing naturally, that made me want to teach it to others. So that's when I became a health coach. And I decided like, okay, what are the most important ways to live more wholesomely, more free and more, with love. And 100%, it's like, it's your connection to the higher power. And I would tie this hand in hand with stress management because it's still all mental, then it would be the diet, exercise, and your sleep. Your sleep is just as important as all of those. Okay, so so I noticed that whenever and it's so easy to pick up now because it's like you're kind of like it's like an antenna. It's like you're always like attuned to that information. You're like open and receptive to like, okay, like if an illness manifests physically, then that shows me that yeah, 100% I need to work on my throat chakra a little bit because it did have everything to do with speaking out and speaking my truth, kind of reclaiming my power from the illness and from all the drama that was going on at the time. I noticed that if I just follow follow my heart, then that was leading me to my health.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was like so evident at the time, and that just made me want to keep on going and like see how, and that just made me like, I guess it was like, okay, now I can like understand these warning signs a lot earlier.
Mhm.
So even down to like the smallest, like even just a cough and cold actually means something, and it's like then I like this year was a year that I really dove deep into astrology.
Mhm.
So staying connected in that way, it was just like, oh wow, yeah, like right now is retrograde season. So of course this is all happening. I can relax, like I know to expect it, but I can relax at the same time because it's like everything is happening the way it should.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people are, they don't know about chakras, they don't know about energy centers. So they're just like, man, I guess I just have to take a cough drop if my throat's hurting. Why isn't that working? And it's like, well, what are you withholding? To your
Hmm.
point, what are you not saying? And it can be that simple, but people don't always think in terms of that. They just think, oh, this is physical, this is my body, and it can't be emotional, which we know, we get gray hairs from stress. You could get acne from stress. We
Mm.
know that. But when it comes to other things, for some reason, people don't always think like that. And I find that interesting because it's all connected.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to tackle that sooner than later because then later on in your life, the extremes of this would be cancer and just very serious diseases. And it's something that if you would have looked within, essentially like forget the cough drop and just like a quick fix, and I would say the inorganic way, it would be to dive in and see like just this morning I was listening to a podcast and the guest shared that um when the most cases when the people started to do the inner work, those who were, I forgot how serious the cancer was because it was a very specific study, but they noticed that those participants like actually restored their health once they started like doing such work that is not like the conventional way, not through chemo and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's that important, and you can heal that way as opposed to going towards the other direction.
Oh, yeah. And then even with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, meditation got people out of health issues they had for years that were quite severe. Because it was kind of like they went in with that intention that they're going to heal, they're going to reset, they're going to get really to the root of the issue because it usually is stemming from something emotional. And then, kind of worked on themselves because you can, oh, like I always say, you can go to a guide, you can do all these things, and that's very helpful, but you also need to do the work anyway. So why would this be any different?
Right, right.
And then just because you have changed your lifestyle for, more spiritual, more healthy, how, and this is a little bit of an interesting question, how has like your daily life changed? What are just things about moment to moment that's different or clearer?
Yeah, yeah, this one's fun because, I recently covered this in one of my latest episodes of how, like, when you wake up, you can start that moment of gratitude the moment you wake up, just for waking up, just for, seeing a new day and seeing that not a lot of people that, especially now more than ever, it's like, everyone's losing someone, and it's just become so close to home that that is actually a big deal to still be alive. So I would say just already starting my day with gratitude is something that's changed, because at the very beginning of my spiritual awakening, oh my God, Melissa, like I would like wake up and cry because my throat was clear. Like, I was just in so much pain for quite some time that, like, to wake up and just be able to breathe clearly was a blessing,
Yes.
like this took away my breath. So that was actually very, it's like after I've been through that, it's like those little things, that was actually gratitude remains one of my most basic details that I could add into my life is to keep like some type of gratitude journal, or just to mm, awaken and meditate, on that, or how, like, everyone's different. So like maybe if you can start your day with gratitude, um and then after, this was okay. Hold on, let me take a breath.
Okay, you were saying?
Yeah, so like after, I send my gratitudes to the higher power, then I can like wake up and I don't touch my phone, so that way I can remain like aware of self. That's like basically, as long as I don't have anything that will distract or immediately pull my attention, because I wake up and it's like I'm getting breakfast ready, I'm getting my son ready for school, and I'm just like getting the day started. So I don't touch my phone for at least like the first couple hours. And I drink water, but first I thank it. And, just me always like blessing my food and thanking my water is also like habitual, because again, it actually still applies to gratitude, just
Mhm.
still having that moment of gratitude and just being thankful for the little things. So yeah, it's like I'm just drinking water, and eventually like my days, I work at home right now, so it's like I'm just working at home, and I am consciously choosing what content then to start listening to or
Yeah.
to watch, as I'm working, because I don't at home I haven't been taking calls as an operator. I've been like doing other clerical stuff. So it's easy, so I'm like, okay, I might as well just listen to a podcast. So I'm doing that, or just, like I'm being mindful of everything that's going in to my body, to my ears, to, all my surroundings. I'm aware of just the person that I am, the person that I want to be, and how I can continue to better myself. So I think just like keeping a balance of those those basic habits is already like key,
Hmm.
and then when I finally break my fast is when I eat something healthy, because I want to nourish my body. I want to like keep my immune system strong, and we all know that our diet affects our mental health,
Yes.
honestly, and it can better your mental health if you are not currently doing the best. I know in Chicago, or yeah, like, we're here in Chicago, so I love the summer, and going into fall makes me a little sad. So I just still have to remember to throw myself out into the sun, even if I find the cold a little bit uncomfortable. It's those things that I think that I'll be I know that I'm better off doing those little acts, like
Mhm.
those little habits, and remove the ones that are not serving me.
Yeah.
So that's how I live every day. And it's like if I want to share something that is going to help people, I'll jump on and I'll, just try not to like give in to so much of the negativity, even though sometimes it does pull my attention. And then I'm
Mhm.
just like, no, just remain focused and concentrate on the things that are helpful and they're going to contribute in some way or another. And I don't like, and this also has a lot to do with like me speaking up.
Mhm.
So I noticed that I'm just gonna like pour out all my love and all every any way I can help people, like regardless. And I don't look for feedback, but that's the thing is that like at random moments or from people you wouldn't expect it from, they're into it or they will say like, hey, this was helpful. So that's why it's just always good to send that type of positive vibes out and then just like keep stuff that is not going to help people like just deter from that.
Exactly. And helping others, that is the purpose of life. I think people always think, oh, it has to be some grandiose thing and I need to be famous or whatever. But really, just helping people when they do need help, when you can help them, you're already living your purpose right there. And it's that simple. And another thing too is also the little things. What, like you said, I'm appreciative of the little things, and then they start to grow. And
Hmm.
most people who are in a rough situation, what I've noticed at least is they were like, oh, I just wish I could just grab coffee with friends. It's always something so simple, because yeah, they are not well or whatever. Or I just wish I could breathe better. In your case, that's something, a lot of us take for granted. So it is the little things, it is to be appreciative of them, and it is to help others. I think that sums it up beautifully, what you just said.
Yeah, you're already living your life's purpose that way.
And we didn't even know it. We didn't
Right.
even know it, and we're already doing it. So easy. Okay, great. And then, was there anything else you wanted to share with the listeners? Anything we didn't get to that you really wanted to spread as part of your message?
Sure. I just want to emphasize how big of a deal it is to not leave anything out of the equation because this is our right. This is something that everyone should have is, peace of mind to be able to express, to share, and to be able to live healthy. And you should always prioritize all four. But I get it. It's like I know that everyone is living different lives, and we just got to take it day by day. It's not a race,
Mhm.
and whether it takes you a week to kick a new healthier habit in, or a week, or a month, however long it takes each person and in their own way, through either meditation or through eating healthier my favorite one is this phase in, phase out, like you basically swap one not so healthy item with something that's closely related, so like maybe like a sugary beverage, like you could opt for something like something more natural, so maybe sparkling water and like lime or some kind of fruit, anything, but it's like if you just take it day by day and be more mindful of whenever you start to kind of backtrack a little bit, just kind of refocus and find an anchor that's going to keep you
Mhm.
going towards your goal.
Yeah, yeah. And I know a lot of people sometimes when they have to do something that's difficult, or, it's a process to kick an old habit and get a new healthy habit. I think they're just so focused in this is difficult now, and they're not looking at the long-term goal. Like you said, they're not looking at, oh, but what am I going to gain for this? I'm going to get so much more energy and all these other good things. I think people really need to see the whole picture, And then these little steps, that's all they are, is little steps. So it's really
Mhm.
a perspective thing too. And that really changes everything because, you know, perception is reality. So if you can
Yeah.
change that, you're changing everything.
Yeah, exactly. It takes an effort to rewire your brain, but it is certainly worth it. It's possible. And if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. And it kind of, I always talk about this. It's like when you see an optical illusion or something, and it's like, oh, I see this, and you see something totally different, and we're looking at the same picture. And we're
Hmm.
both right. Nobody's wrong here. We're both right, but you could choose to see, you know, a beautiful picture. I could choose to see an ugly picture. You know, it's that.
Oh,
So
perspective. Yeah.
yes, yes. Okay, great. And then Tracy, just promote yourself. Where can we find you? Or if someone wants to work with you one-on-one, just plug everything.
Yeah, no, thank you, Melissa. So, as a health coach, the easiest way that I can help you is to see if you're an ideal client. Like we have to be a perfect match from as a coach and as a client. So, in any way that I can help you just live a healthier lifestyle, as I said, we have to keep all four of these in the front of our mind in order to live more optimally. So I do offer one-on-one coaching, and we can start getting you like it's a fast track by adding, see, that's the thing is like the path of least resistance is actually the better one
Yes.
because this is going to like trigger massive results and you wouldn't even know until you're actually in the process of. So they're very basic, very simple. I'm not gonna it's not ideal to like cut your calories intake in half and to like go to the gym 5 days a week. That's not going to stick. So
Mhm.
I want this to be lifelong lasting results. And it all starts by taking baby steps. So anyway, so I offer one-on-one coaching as a health coach. And I also have my podcast called Tunnel Lights, and that's light with a Y. And yeah, and so just holler at me and you can find me on Instagram as well and Facebook. It's all under the same name, Tunnel Light.
Perfect. And then I'll make sure to include all that in the show notes so that people can easily find you. And then, yes, I'm also a Tunnel Light listener, 100%.
Oh,
So love
thank
the
you.
information. Yeah, love the information that Tracy has to share. Okay. And then, Tracy, thank you so much for being on today. It was really enlightening. And I love just talking to like minded people and having them share their message to the masses.
I really appreciate you having me. I think that you've brought, because I listened to several of your episodes too, and I always think that you bring fantastic people on. So when we reached out to each other, I was just like, oh my God, this is really happening. So I'm excited and it's such an honor to be here. So thank you once more.
Yes, of course. Of course. I love it. And always, everybody, this is just another great example of how spirituality and the use of different methods and teachings can really make great changes in your daily life. And as always, if you're looking for a way to relieve stress and anxious thoughts, or just looking to gain clarity, you can always book a Reiki energy healing session with me or an Akashic Records reading session with me at thenewagegoddess.com. Much love and namaste.
Much love and peace and avocado grease.